Good morning. Nice to see everyone here on this cold fall day. My name is Maryann Postans, and I'm the service coordinator today. Our minister, Dr. Dunkley, will be giving the reflection today. There are a lot of things going on at North Chapel each week, so look at the order of service. There's food, music, wreaths, knitting, so take a look at what's in there. Childcare in the parlor is provided by Maryann up here in front. If you're visiting today, we would love to have you sign the guest book at the back of the church. There are also hearing devices there. And just take a moment to turn off your cell phone if you have one. Announcements, let's see, there was an earring up here. I don't know if the person got it. It's silver, beautiful. I'm not sure what happened to it, but awesome, great, good, you got it. And then Mary Blanton wants to make an announcement.
Good morning. It says the last week you have to hear from me droning on about wreaths. So I have to put the order in this week. So Ann Maryann has a clipboard. She can take your orders here after the service, and I'll be down at coffee hour. So last call if you haven't ordered it yet. Thanks.
Speaking of food, next week is our church potluck, so bring something yummy for after church. And then I have an announcement about something that I'm performing in. Haunted Village Theater is in Barnard, up the road. It happens next Saturday. It starts at 5, and you can eat at the Barnard Town Hall if you want to. You don't have to do that. And then they'll take tours, walking through the dark to see different performances. And I'm in Masquerade. So there's a bit of a story before I read my opening words that I chose. And because the theme this month is washing away anger. It's also today about water. I went on to Google and I typed in those two things and put in the word poetry. And this amazing poem came up, and I read through it, and I said, I love this poem. And then I noticed it said AI near it. And then as I glanced down, I noticed there were these like little links. And then I realized that AI had stolen parts of poetry from all these poets, but you could go to their poem at the link. So I did that. I clicked into like the first link and I read the poem, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this poem. And I'm not a poetry person, just to let you know. And then I clicked into the next link and I'm like, oh, I don't like this poem. I really like this AI poem. I'm gonna read this AI poem. And then a day went by and I thought more about it, and I realized, no way am I gonna read an AI poem, though I like it better, because it's just like stealing stuff from people who are creative. So then I went on and I found this poem, which I like. It's by Margaret Atwood. It's called Water Flows. Water does not resist. Water flows. When you plunge your hand into it, all you feel is a caress. Water is not a solid wall. It will not stop you. But water always goes where it wants to go, and nothing in the end can stand against it. Water is patient. Dripping water wears away a stone. Remember that, my child. Remember, you are half water. If you can't go through an obstacle, go around it. Water does.
Your kid's really cute. Two really beautiful young girls put flower petals in the singing bowl yesterday. They were fake flower petals, and fake flower petals are very important sometimes. A few years ago, we welcomed new members into North Chapel by throwing fake flower petals over their shoulders. We threw them over their shoulders and welcomed them in, and they were gathered up and put into a bag. When we had a water ceremony a few years ago at the beginning of the church year, those petals were put into this bowl as we gathered waters from places where we had been over the course of our years. And those fake flower petals are still here in this water that we collected that time ago. Part of that water was combined with other water that held flowers that we placed around the memorial after George Floyd was killed. We put signs of Tony McDade and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd out in front of the church, and flowers gathered around them. Some of them were placed by people in this congregation, some of them were placed by people in the community. And those flowers stayed there for the better part of a week before we took them down, combined the waters that were holding the flowers, and that water was poured at the cornerstone of the church to mark the beauty that went into that celebration and that recognition. So I'm gonna go get the flower petals, I forgot them today, that were delivered to me by those two brave little angel kids yesterday, who were absolute nuts yesterday, by the way, at the rehearsal. And I'm gonna add them to our flowers because, you can't but increase the joy. Good morning and good Sunday. I hope that this new day finds you well. Welcome to Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, a marker that helps us to remember the different ways of seeing the world, ways of honoring the sacred in our planet and in our existence. May we remember our connection and strengthen our connection to the earth and to one another as we journey through this challenging time. Welcome to the dreamers and to the seekers of spirit, either bold or bashful in the quest. Welcome to the wanderers and welcome to the worshipers landing here to give their souls a rest. Welcome to the souls who, just like you and just like me, are blissfully imperfect beneath the lucky stars above. Blessed and beloved, held, whole, and honored by a love that knows no bounds. To all souls, I say good morning. It is good to be together. I think it was a rainy day at seminary when I first connected with Wendy Bartel for the first time. With her wife, her now wife, Lynn Gardner, Wendy is one of two co-ministers at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Schenectady, or US, as they informed me. Both Lynn and Wen are here with us this morning. I would like to recognize their presence and their contribution to our sanctuary. This flowing fabric of waters was their creation. Wen, I have to ask a favor of you. Can you come on up here? Can you help me to remember the moment when we first met? I want to share that moment with everyone, but I don't remember it correctly, and you were the only one there, so can you remember what Please welcome Reverend Wendy Bartel.
Well,
I'm going to move you here so
okay,
you can see me.
Great. A very different sanctuary than ours. Yes. Good morning. It's good to be with you. I think the very first time we met was at General Assembly. There was this man walking around with a guitar case, mostly, and that in that moment, I thought, there's a lot of walking at General Assembly for those of us who walk, and he's carrying a guitar case on top of it. Okay. And then there were many times in that week where he was just in a corner playing. Not to perform, but to be with the music. And he was one of the first people I've ever met that approaches the sacredness of music in the same way that I feel music. And thank you for the blessings of your beautiful music today. There are some ways in which that performance piece is fine. It has a place. And there's plenty of that at General Assembly, but every time, Leon was just in the corner, in his own space, playing for the joy and the holiness of it. That's how I experienced that. And then I found out he was going to seminary, and so was I. And we were going to the same seminary. And I was like, yes! And when we got there, it had been a few months since then, and re-met, if you will. And I said, it would be so great to make music together sometime. It's like, yeah, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Not in a dismissive way, just in a, like, I don't know. We're in seminary. But over the course of time, we did get to make some amazing music together, and I've learned so much from you in those days and in those experiences, in the ways you have brought forth music from within me and from within us and us. And even as recently as Leon came to visit us a few weeks ago and played upright bass in the service there. So I am deeply, deeply grateful.
Thank you. What I remember is that there's a place called the Fireside Room that has this little alcove that's got a lot of windows in it, beautiful alcove. And after one of our classes, it lasted about 3 hours, they're really long classes. Wendy was like, do you have a minute? And I was like, yeah, anything but more class, And then I remember you saying it would be great to play music together, and our other there's another connection. But and I remember being like, absolutely not, under no condition. I remember being absolutely dismissive and rude. So that's very graceful. But like we sat in that place for what I remember like more than an hour, talking about why under no conditions did I want to play music in a Unitarian Universalist service ever again. And then for the next 3 years, we played all the time. When I entered seminary, I was knee-jerk reactive and negative. I was not in a dark night of the soul, but it was pretty bad. I was more in like the rain-soaked days of the spirit. Cris Williamson once wrote, sometimes it takes a rainy day just to let you know that everything's gonna be all right. The rains came this past week, then the rivers filled a little. The high water mark on ponds and lakes is a little bit higher, gratefully. Our hearts can be like rivers and like ponds and like lakes. We too can let ourselves be filled with the rains and let ourselves be washed clean. We find peace this way. We find joy this way. We learn to lead this way, by way of waters that fall from the sky. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down, down by the water, I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down, down by the water, I feel whole. I thought I might have lost a friend this past week. But all I actually lost were my illusions. I still have my friend. But when I thought I had lost him, I cried. I thought I had lost a friend of more than 50 years. And I cried in my kitchen, and around my shoulders, I felt the arms of Wendy Bartell and Lynn Gardner. They held me as I pulled myself together, and then Lynn shared a poem with me that I would like to ask her to share with you. The poem was called The Fountain.
Good morning. This poem comes from Denise Levertov. Don't say there is no water to solace the dryness at our hearts. I have seen the fountain springing out of the rock wall, and you drinking there. And I too, before your eyes, found footholds and climbed to drink the cool water. The woman of that place, shading her eyes, frowned as she watched, not because she grudged the water, only because she was waiting to see we drank our fill and were refreshed. Don't say there is no water. That fountain is there among its scalloped green and gray stones, and is still there and always there, with its quiet song and strange power to spring in us, up and out through the rock.
I took the picture on the covers of our orders of service this morning. It's from Silver Lake, but it could be from anywhere. In New Jersey, I used to go kayaking very, very early in the morning. Many times I put in at daybreak in near total darkness. You may already know this about me. I would gather up my kayaking gear at daybreak and head out to the lake. No one was newly awake at that time of day. I was among and only among those who had been awake for hours, the nocturnals, the night owls, the restless ones, the night shift rescue workers, the police officers and the paramedics, the all-night silver diner crews. All-night silver diners. They can be some fascinating places, especially in the middle of the night. And if you're really into it, and if one is single at the time, and amenable, open and suitably oriented, predispositioned and so inclined, one can actually fall in love with a diner. You might have seen one out in Minnesota, or maybe down by the Sea of Sarasota, one such lover of diners would sing, having decided to come out about his love of diners in the 1990s. His was an uncommon orientation, but he embraced it freely. Martin Sexton is an artist and a courageous man. Like many before him, he wrote a song about the object of his affection. Like very few before him, the object of his affection was a silver diner. Revealingly, he wrote, "You might have seen one out in Minnesota, or maybe down by the sea in Sarasota. They were made back in Worcester, Mass, of aluminum and Bakelite glass. And like a locomotive, they were streamlines, and the blueprints were drawn up from a dream of mine. You slap them up and you put them on the train, out to Michigan or up to Maine. Ow. You maybe find a diner down in Georgia, Carolina, off the 20, past the Piggly Wiggly in the country out of Waynesboro. It's really hard to say. And when it's getting late and rainy out in New York City, you hang a Louis off the freeway and you get yourself a cheeseburger at a Little Gem Diner off 6-9er. Diner, my shiny, shiny love." He wrote that song about the object of his affection. It is so important to be honest with ourselves about how and the way we love. When I was growing up, I didn't know that was a thing that you had to do. I didn't know it was possible to do otherwise. I was really unaware of the pressures to conform. I didn't know that there was such a thing about hiding the feelings inside of one's own heart. I didn't know about the fear of being public about the way in which one loves. I knew about the discomfort that one might have with public displays of affection, but I understood it mostly as shyness, as a matter of discretion, as an issue with the public display part, and not with the object of one's affection. I've learned differently over time. I say it this way because yesterday was National Coming Out Day, and I want to magnify that. Yesterday was October 11. It was National Coming Out Day, and it was first established in 1988 to celebrate the anniversary of the 1987 March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights. Created by psychologist Robert Eichberg and activist Jean O'Leary, the day aims to promote the visibility and the importance of coming out as LGBTQ+, which serves as a powerful tool against discrimination and a path toward living authentically and openly. October 11 marks an anniversary of the 1987 National March on Washington, a significant demonstration for LGBTQ rights. I want to remind you, if you will allow me, of a story that I shared with you some years ago, a story that I lived through in Silver Spring, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. It was a story about a young conservative Republican man who came to see me for a private consultation. I was a little surprised because he chose me, because I assumed that we had very different views. I was a little surprised by what he had to say. He said, "Good morning. Thank you for meeting me. I appreciate your willingness and your time." And I shared with him that I was happy that he had reached out to me, but was curious about what he had to say. He told me that he was a student at Liberty University. And that surprised me a little bit, because Liberty University is in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is about 200 miles from Silver Spring. It's not close. And it surprised me even more because Liberty University, as you may know, was established by a man named Jerry Falwell. According to Wikipedia, Jerry Falwell was a Baptist pastor, a televangelist, and a conservative activist. He was the founding pastor of the Thomas Road Baptist Church, a megachurch in Lynchburg, Virginia. He founded Lynchburg Christian Academy, which is now Liberty Christian Academy. He founded Liberty University in 1971 and co-founded the Moral Majority. I didn't know why this man was coming to me. I'm still curious about why he chose me, why he was called to speak with me, but he did, in his plaid jacket and his Argyle sweater and his patterned tie. It was a lot. Every part of his attire was in motion. Yet and still his voice was calm and settled. He said, "This might surprise you, but I really enjoy Unitarian Universalism." He was right, I was surprised. He said, "I admire your 7 principles. In my faith, we believe many of these same things." I chimed in and I said, "We don't have a prescribed dogma in our tradition. We encourage and honor direct experience. This faith encourages its practitioners to reason and to think freely and for themselves." He said, "I like you liberals. You think that we think differently. You imagine that conservatives don't think for ourselves." And he was right again. And I thought to myself, I kind of like this guy, but he's also quickly getting on my nerves. I didn't say that out loud, and he wasn't really getting on my nerves. He was just right about more than I thought he would be right about. And I was wondering where our conversation was going. Out loud, I said directly, I said, "Friend, tell me why you have come to see me." And he surprised me again. He said, "Reverend, as a Christian conservative, I can get with almost everything that you believe in, with one exception." He said, "I don't know how you guys can justify gay marriage. For me, marriage is between a man and a woman, and it's the basis of family as I understand it." So I asked him, I said, "Friend, are you married?" And he said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Now, I never do this because it's inappropriate, but I'm making an exception." Do you remember this story? "I never do this, but I'm making an exception. I think I have the perfect person for you," is what I told him. "She's a member of this congregation, and she will be in church this Sunday. I want you guys to meet. What do you say? Will you come to church on Sunday?" He was taken aback, but he kept his composure. He turned me down. He said, "Thank you very much. I'm flattered, but I just don't think that I'm comfortable with what you're suggesting." So I pressured him. I insisted. I said, "This is a real opportunity, and you should trust me. I think I know what's best for you, and I'm serious. Come to church this Sunday. I know that this is weird, but I have a really, really good feeling about this. Do me a favor, and do yourself a favor. and come to church this Sunday, and I will introduce you to, without insinuating that I have a plan in mind. I simply know that the two of you are perfect for each other. I never play matchmaker, but I am this time. Come and meet her, and if you don't agree with me right away, if you don't think that she is perfect for you, if you don't think that I'm right, then just discreetly leave. No one will ever be the wiser. I'm telling you, you have to trust me. Believe me, this woman is your future wife. My guest was very uncomfortable with me, with my actions and with the whole idea, but he stuck to his guns and he refused the offer. And when I asked him why, he said as politely as I could, I appreciate that you care about what's going on in my life. I just think that I should be the person who gets to choose who I marry. He just said, I think that I should be the person who gets to choose who I should marry. I sat there in silence. I took a deep breath and relaxed, having succeeded in an unlikely way, and I waited for him to hear his own words. I believe that I should be the person who chooses who I should marry. And he did. And he smiled at me, and I at him. I don't know if I changed his mind, but I think I confounded him a little bit. I think I showed him the oversimplicity of his thoughts. We shook hands together and it ended our meeting. I think he left half unconverted, only partially transformed, but I think that we did enough in that single meeting on a rainy afternoon. We found a little peace that day. We found a little joy that way. We learned to lead that way by way of waters that fall from the sky on that rainy afternoon. I share this story because so many things are hurting us right now. There are so many wounds that we've been carrying. And because I thought I had lost a friend this week. And I was broken up about it until I felt the healing waters and the peaceful understanding in the gentle arms of my dearest friends. Deep peace and genuine understanding. So many things are hurting us right now. So many wounds that we've been carrying. I thought I had lost a friend, and I was pretty broken up about it until I felt the healing waters all around me. Healing waters are close to us. The Silver Lake, the Araquichi, the healing waters that fall down as rain. The rains came this past week. The rivers and the ponds and the lakes filled up a little. Hearts can be like rivers, like ponds, and like lakes. We too can let ourselves be filled by rains and washed clean by the rains that are thrown down by such loving hands. I'd like to end this morning, before I'll ask us to sing together, a little drumming. Actually, can you start setting up those chairs? I'd like to end this morning with the words of Jane Goodall, a woman who loved the rain and was not afraid to display her affection. She said, above all, I want you to think about the fact that when we are on this planet Earth, we are part of Mother Nature. We depend on Mother Nature for clean air and for water, for food and for clothing, for everything. And as we destroy one ecosystem after another, as we create a worsening situation for climate change, as we create the loss of diversity, we have to do everything within our power to make the world a better place for the children alive today and for those that will follow. You have it in your power to make a difference. Don't give up. There's a future for you. Do your best while you're still on this beautiful planet Earth, the beautiful Earth that I look down upon from where I am now. It's not important to go kayaking before the sun comes up. It's important to go to the water as we can and to learn its wisdom. There are brave lessons there. It is important to listen to the rain and to slow down and to allow the time for ourselves to heal. There are so many reasons to despair these days. and there are so many reasons to hope. So many examples of gentle dignity to harvest for our lives, and of course, so very many ways to heal. May it be so.